Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's call the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee meeting to order, 9:05. Jeff, I don't have an agenda in front of me. I apologize.
No, I apologize. That's my fault. Really, just if you will do an approval of the minutes, and then we'll just go right into the PowerPoint report.
Yep. Can I get a approval of the minutes from last month?
Move to approve.
I have a second. Second by Jeff. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay.
Good morning, and we're going to go ahead and start with the PowerPoint presentation. This will be the summary of the report you should have gotten in your email. If you, for whatever reason, didn't get it or it didn't come through, just let me know and I'll resend it. And we're getting that pulled up and we'll be ready to roll. Okay, so this is our actual public hearing. Do we have anybody out in the lobby to make any comments at this time? Did you see? Okay. And if you're online and you have a comment, you're welcome to type that into the box and they'll relay them to us. We did not receive any email comments on the report or the process. So the only other public comments would be either here or through the WebEx.
There's nobody at the kiosk.
Okay, we'll move forward. And our Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, as everyone knows, is triennially responsible for approving the incentive strategies that the state legislature, state statutes have required that we look at. You can approve them, you can recommend them to the Board of County Commissioners. We can discuss them. You're only required to support two of them, and that is the expedited permitting and the ongoing review process. As we go forward, these can also include other incentives that you have identified as part of the meetings that we've had. And the approval of the report and recommendations are made by an affirmative majority vote, which we will do today, and that's done at the public hearing. So we are required to submit the report to the Board of County Commissioners and Florida Housing Finance. That includes our recommendations on the listed affordable housing incentives. And this is the list of them, and they are small print. I apologize. We're going to go through each one individually, though. So the AHAC has reviewed the county's plans, policies, procedures, ordinances, regulations, statutes, and the comprehensive plan, among others. And we have specifically had you consider and evaluated the following strategies. So what follows is the strategy, basically what is currently in place, and then the, excuse me, the recommendations that were made. So the expedited permitting projects, they're expedited with a form that alerts the permitting staff. The county is also using the Excella automation for building construction services and permitting process. And that helps the county's permitting staff, building construction staff move things along a little quicker.
Conceivably.
Conceivably. Yeah. I'm not familiar with that system.
Well, that'll save a couple years of your life.
No comment. So the AHAC recommendation, from what I've seen and what we've heard, everybody agrees that we'll leave that in place. The expedited permitting process. Community development and planning are working together. Sunid has been very helpful in this process. So trying to figure out and make sure that we are getting any affordable housing projects through permitting and construction as quickly as possible. And if, I should say, if anybody's got a comment, question, want to throw anything out there during this, just feel free to interrupt or throw your hands up. Is anybody having comments on this recommendation or this process? Okay, Marcy, do we want to approve each one individually or just as a whole when we're done, you think?
How many are there? 9, 10? I think it would probably be just as easy to approve them all at the end as one big group. And then if we've got to single something out, we'll make an amendment.
Okay, that works. Sounds good. Hearing no comments, and if anybody online does, like we said, you've got them all muted right now, right, Craig? But you can unmute yourself. So if you want to make any comments or have any questions. The second one is the modification of impact fee requirements. This was modified by the Board of County Commissioners last year, Ordinance 2017, and it does waive the mobility fees for affordable housing projects. Those projects have to serve folks that will be at 80% of the area median income under the SHIP definition. School impact fees can be waived on residential construction, new residential construction within communities that are designed for persons 55 or older. And this is in place for single family as well as multifamily projects. The property or development must maintain affordability throughout the affordability period, or the developer could be subject to having to pay back the fees that were waived. And the AHAC would recommend that the current fee waivers remain in place.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kelly.
This is where I'm going to interrupt. So in your report, you had government acquisition credits. Can we speak to that? Is that going to happen? Does that happen?
It is currently in place. Go ahead, Marcy.
It is currently in place, but there hasn't been any land purchases to require that in the last couple of years, but it's still on the books. That's
fantastic. Okay.
Yep. And I apologize. I didn't want to overload the slides, but that one is one in place. So we'll continue with that recommendation. Any questions, comments?
Did you guys all see that little note? Because that's kind of important, okay? I mean, for us moving forward, that all these credits, can be utilized for affordable housing. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's a not-for-profit. And that's all at Marcy's discretion. So this is just fabulous.
Can you go back? Can you reverse that back again, just to make sure I'm catching what you're saying?
It's not.
It was not on.
I'll pass this to you if you want to read it in yellow.
It's in.
I apologize. I should have added that.
The reason why I'm bringing that up is because, sometimes the political will of this county isn't necessarily on the same page. And I think that this is an extremely important tool that has been voted on by the commission back in 2009. Before a lot of the commissioners that are sitting today, even yourself, Commissioner Starkey, this was voted on prior to the commission that's sitting today. So I just want to bring this up as to, this is on our books and we are recommending that it stay there because this is a huge tool for us in the future.
Have we ever used that, Marcy?
Yes, and we have some projects that we've used the GAC credits on, in the past. But we have not. So I went to the county attorney's office on it because I said, "Are we still doing this?" So what David said was.
Right?
Yes, it was still. We do. We do, but there haven't been any new acquisitions that resulted in the creation of new credits.
Do you mind if we pause for a second? And I especially want to ask our affordable housing builders. So I had a conversation with my son last night, who called me and asked me about the Senate bill that was sponsored. I took a picture of it. I know a co-sponsor was Lauren Buck, and I don't remember who the Senate sponsor was. But I don't think it's moved, but it was saying, make it, I guess, after I think it's 14 years, the tax credits the requirement to keep the affordability at a certain level stops and then they can go to market rate. And that there was a bill going through that allowed it to keep some big tax advantage. And so his company was looking at getting into buying a whole bunch of the, a percentage of this company that was looking to buy a bunch of these affordable housing units if that tax abatement would stay. But I guess that bill hasn't moved. So I said, well, the county's looking at giving the land towards affordable housing. And he said the land costs are only 10% of the cost of building the building, and it's not enough to incentivize new developments. I was wondering if that's, are you the one with Big Sky?
Mm-hmm.
So what percentage of land is the land cost for you when you're building these?
That varies, but I think 10% is a reasonable number to think about.
So even giving free land isn't enough to make a project
Right.
without the government help.
It depends on what kind of development you're referring to. If you're referring to a market rate development, then yeah, free land sometimes won't even make a market rate development work in a certain area. As far as affordable housing, it would be, let's just say that land had a value of $2 million, and we were able to build a $20 million development on there. Depending on the types of funding that we went after, that $2 million of land absolutely would be a filler of a gap in that funding to make a deal work.
And do your projects usually after 14 years flip to market rate?
No, I'm not 100% sure exactly what ours never do. No, but I'm not exactly sure what your son was referring to. However, in the state of Florida for some time now, if you were to get funding from Florida Housing, they require a 50-year period. Now, developments that were developed way back, a long time ago, they didn't have those requirements, and so oftentimes those properties do come out of their affordability period and then can turn into market rate.
Okay, and you want to say something?
That
Jim?
has to do with what I brought up at the last meeting, the private tax credits. We've done that in Indiana. The compliance period is 15 years.
15.
So you have to stay in compliance, and after that, you could basically do what you want. I haven't seen it here yet, but that's what I brought up, that's a good way of increasing affordable housing because you have no debt service. But you need a lot of tax credits, and it's up to the highest office of the land, Pasco County, to want to get involved with this. If you have investment bankers, they could look into this.
To offer tax credit relief for 15 years.
Or you could, whatever you want. It has to do with an IRS code that has to do with private tax credits. Like I said, we did 3 of them with Warren Buffett in Indiana, and it's 15-year compliance period.
But we're not recommending any of that in our report.
There is a part of that at the end of the presentation that we'll discuss as far as recommendations, but
I didn't know where to.
no, you're fine.
Yes.
Is there somebody online that was trying to?
Yeah, somebody.
Mr. Whitman?
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you have something you want to say?
just what everybody was saying is correct. It's 15 years. If it's 9% credits, typically that's when the investors, the equity partners, are allowed to exit the deal.
Okay, Commissioner, anything else you want to
No,
add?
I'm just still learning, so I got to ask the question.
All of us.
Sorry.
All of us. Appreciate that. Jeff, thanks for taking the pause.
Thank you for the comments. The next strategy is the flexible densities. The county does not have a documented policy at this time related to that with affordable housing. Long-range planning is still reviewing policies on this, the land development code rewrite that's going on.
Dude, is Sunid not with us today?
I think she's on the phone, Sunit.
Okay. I was just curious if we were getting that heat map.
We talked, that's on here too. So.
Okay, gotcha.
The recommendation from the AHAC, as we understood it, was that long-range planning continue to review the flexible densities and supports changes in the land development code, as well as the comprehensive plan that will facilitate affordable housing development. Any comments, questions on this one?
Just a comment from an affordable housing developer. I mean, the more ability I have within your code to develop affordable housing, the more I'll be able to. And that's not a Pasco thing. That's just in general. Yeah, it's the codes that hold people back from doing things. So the more flexible the codes are, as it applies to affordable housing, the more people will be looking to do that. So just a comment.
So I think that the last time the committee reviewed these things 3 years ago, I think they responded in, I'll say like a more conservative way, saying they would support the initiatives that were already in place. And if an initiative wasn't in place, they left it alone. But since the land development code is in the middle of a rewrite, I felt, and that's what I said the last time, that this is a prime opportunity for another committee to have a voice and say, let's kind of put our 2 cents in now and say, this is a good time to do some of those things. So we took a number of these recommendations where the county has not yet made a move on, but has the opportunity to word the recommendation this way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll go on to the reservation of the infrastructure capacity and consistent with the comp plan. Citing criteria, adequate infrastructure must be in place prior to development. And the recommendation on the AHAC was, and I'm sorry, Kelly, you told me that was, the AHAC recommends, sorry, yes, same slide, my apologies. The recommendation was that it stay the same, no changes in this policy. Any questions, comments? Okay. Parking and setback requirements. Developers can request a variance to be evaluated case by case. 2 public hearings are required. And I know we discussed that and maybe reducing that, talking with planning on that. Parking variances can be requested if the developer can show that they don't need the requirements due to where they're at in relation to public transit or other places. They can apply to get that waived. And the recommendation is parking setback variances be considered during land development code. And that goes to what Jeff said about flexibility for developers. Sunid, you want to add anything on this one?
For that one, I thought I sent that one. I'm sorry. I do apologize. Good morning, everybody. If you can go up one slide. For setbacks, our zoning director, she says she does not like to do any variances. Based off of the conversation that we had last time, we talked about how variances are expensive and we have to go through 2 public hearings. But she did, our land development code, there are parts of our codes that help assist in this situation, especially when you look at chapter 500, section 520. I can't remember which one, I think it's 520F, where there are wiggle room to change, to vary our setbacks. And she says that assists a lot. And a lot of developers do not use that. However, we encourage, especially all developers and especially our affordable housing projects to use that one. It's the 520 that allows you to do it without worrying about paying extra fees for variances or all standards.
So that eliminates the 2 public hearings as well?
Exactly. Because it's an outright, you're allowed to ask for modification.
520.
So can you provide that language so we could update the report?
Yeah, I sent it to you guys yesterday. It was really late. I do apologize. But I did send that language for you.
Okay, thank you, Sunita. I'll go through. I think I saw your email late in the day or evening.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, we understand everybody's busy. Any comments or discussions on this one?
So we will incorporate what's already there.
And that's really good information to know too. Really good information to know.
520, oh yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And then this again might be a Captain Obvious statement, but anything that doesn't have to have two public hearings with regards to affordable housing is helpful because like she said, it costs time, it costs money, and all these things are factors when we're evaluating what we can and cannot do.
Correction, it's 530.2, section 530.2. I put in the chat for all.
Thank you, Sunil. Affordable accessory residential units is the next strategy. And under the Land Development Code and Comprehensive Plan, Pasco County will explore new alternatives to create affordable housing opportunities, such as an accessory unit in residential zoning, also within mixed parcel use. And the AHAC supports modifications to the Land Development Code that will incentivize affordable accessory units in these areas. Anybody, I know we've talked some about this as well. Anybody want to add anything or bring anything up?
I think that's a pretty
Okay.
straightforward
Yep.
sentence.
Yep.
Agree.
Yep. Flexible lot configurations. Pasco does offer master planned unit development district. That does allow the developers to propose their own configurations. Projects involving duplexes can request an exception to zero lot line. The AHAC is going to, again, it's language that's pretty familiar. We're supporting modifications that include allowances for these flexible lot configurations for affordable housing. Comments, questions?
No, that one's pretty straightforward.
Okay. The modification of street requirements. The Land Development Code does have provisions for alternative transportation standards. The comprehensive plan does have policies that support the development, accessible development and that alternative transportation options. And the AHAC did not recommend any changes to this strategy.
Yep.
Anybody have anything?
No, this is the one we talked about extensively last time that involved federal and state roads, rural and urban. So yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot with that one. The process of ongoing review, the county continually reviews Land Development Code, Comprehensive Plan, building regulations, and try to identify actions that can reduce the cost of developing affordable housing. And the AHAC recommends the Pasco County, including community development, continue to review policies, procedures, ordinances, regulations, and plans that increase the cost of housing and try to incentivize the development of affordable housing. So we're wanting to, again, as an overall goal, just to reduce barriers to affordable housing that the county has control over. Any comments on this one?
Nope.
Okay, the public land inventory, the county's website does maintain a list of surplus properties that could potentially be used for affordable housing. The AHAC has recommended that a map of surplus and other vacant county property be published, and planning development is working on this process right now.
I did talk to the school district. Well, I talked to Ray Gadd about it, and he wasn't sure what they had, but I said, John, who used to be with the school district, mentioned they had quite a bit, so I think they're working on a list.
There's a Penny for Pasco meeting going on right now as well too. So Chris Williams may be able to get that information. It's probably on their agenda right now. It's the time of the year, so.
Good. But they're very amenable to it.
Good.
I want to make a quick correction if possible.
Go ahead, Sinead.
It's not planning and development, it's Real Properties that's working on that for this.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah, but do you want to say something, Derek?
Very comprehensive list. County, we have about 9,000 on an Excel sheet. I don't know, I would recommend the county getting a third-party person to do it, but that's,
Derek, on that list, so Derek came to me from the real estate department, so he knows the inner workings of the real estate department. Derek, is there a way to ask if they could concentrate on the larger size parcels first?
The buildable.
The buildable size?
Or single family or larger parcels.
Yeah.
Not all the right of way things.
yeah, that's why our list is so large, because there's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could probably do it by acreage, but a lot of it's gonna be owned by utilities. But, a lot of wastewater treatment plants, potential sites.
Yeah, and that they're not using, by the way.
And not feasible for development.
Oh, but then my-
Well, no. Yeah, the wastewater treatment land, the utilities land, there's a lot of it. Because like we just sold some to the school district for the new high school that's gonna go up in Odessa. So, and they have that 300 acres outside of Dade City that they're never gonna use. So they have a lot of land they're never gonna use. Can we ask the real estate department or I don't know if it's us, how do we get the real estate department to focus on large down to small? Okay. All right.
That was easy.
Yeah.
How do we do that? Derek.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for the corrections, Anid. So we'll work with real property on the vacant lots, vacant land and the map. The next one, the supportive development near transportation hubs. The comprehensive plan attempts to guide and encourage development in these corridors. And the AHAC is in support of the comprehensive plan encouraging affordable housing development in these corridors. Any comments on this questions? Okay, that was all of the incentive strategies that you were required to look at. This is just a little extra stuff, and we talked about the inclusionary zoning last meeting, where my mind is. Pasco County does not have specific land use policy or requirements which deliver affordable housing as a requirement of development. The AHAC does recommend the county investigate ways to incentivize inclusionary developments, offering density bonuses, tax credit options, other incentives. Any questions, comments? Marcy, you have anything on that one?
Yeah, I did want to clarify, because we spoke the last time, and I brought up the new Florida statute, 2 years old, that requires any municipality who has a mandatory, and that's the key. If a municipality has a mandatory inclusionary zoning ordinance, then they have to, by law now, offset the costs. So you have to then either donate the land or have a density bonus or do something to offset the cost. So what we're talking about is more in the not mandatory but volunteer and incentivizing the carrot approach, where if you choose to add 10 affordable housing units or whatever, then you can have an increase in density or something like that.
Marcy, if you have a regular business, like a regular apartment complex, could you then become affordable by putting a portion of your units as affordable housing by using these, or is this just solely for new construction?
This would be new construction, but I think you have a question as to would there be another way to incentivize current apartment complexes to perhaps designate some of their units as affordable, and I'm not familiar with that, but I would imagine it could be done. Jimmy, you look like you shook your head. Oh yes, did I get you on that?
No, that sounds good, but my thinking is to subsidize, not require, but try to subsidize these people to get in instead of creating, a system that, how are you gonna do that?
Yeah, it would well, so, if you go back to one of my original presentations, when it comes to affordable housing, we have two options, and sometimes we have to use them together. You either subsidize the developer to make the unit more affordable, or you subsidize the tenant or the homeowner to make it affordable. And sometimes when we're dealing with the lowest income, we need to do both of those things. So the unit is subsidized, but then also the person going in is subsidized. So in this case, the unit's already vertical and in use. So then Jimmy's right, it would be attaching a voucher or subsidy to those units in order. So technically speaking, any apartment can be affordable because they could allow for Section 8, all sorts of things. We have permanent supportive housing vouchers. We have all sorts of different vouchers to subsidize. I think that there's things we can do to encourage that. And also, what I would say too is it's not just the voucher or the person, but really communities, apartment communities becoming aware of the income qualified person, because you could have a lower income, but then a smart and savvy renter get in there that really didn't need it. So the key would be to get it for the people who need it.
Right. Anybody have any more comments or questions?
Well, to that point, Jimmy, your opinion or Mark on the line, if you have existing units, you're operating, property tax is an operating line item. And so, a reduction in property taxes to allow for affordable housing. I mean, anything really, it's really mathematics. It's just mathematics. It's addition and subtraction.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anything that you can do to reduce the operating cost on a property would incentivize some to allow for affordable units. And then you just got to figure out how does that get managed? How does the county make sure, like you were suggesting, through what process does the county make sure that they're at 60% AMI or below, or whatever it ends up needing to be? So that's interesting.
What is the number, 60%?
Well, that would be dictated by the policy. 9%.
Need is, so you could go 80%, but the biggest need mathematically is 60% of low. Those are the people that have that there's the biggest gap of available units. That would be an interesting conversation.
It's definitely a conversation.
Commissioner, I'm not sure that there would be a whole lot of political will to reduce property taxes, but but you're right. It's all.
Well, that's what that bill was. It's not going anywhere. It was heard once. Yeah. So I don't know.
Thank you, Commissioner. In concluding, basically, I've summarized that the AHAC would like to see affordable housing incentives in the current land development code rewrite. The current strategic plan does increase the goal of mixed use, mixed income housing developments. The AHAC would like to continue to see those projects have affordable housing as one of their goals in it. Historically, affordable housing has been deleted as required from the master planned units. AHAC would like the county to follow the best practice models to incentivize the development of these master planned communities and focus on affordable housing as well, not put it to the side. And the staff, we appreciate everybody serving on this, volunteering your time. The AHAC has appreciated the opportunity to be involved with this process and take this report to the commission, trying to increase affordable housing in Pasco County. The AHAC wants to emphasize the opportunity that the county has right now with the rewrite to create policies, procedures that will incentivize and benefit the developers. The AHAC applauds the county commission for waiving the mobility fees for affordable housing developments.
Which, by the way, was a recommendation back in 20.
Yep.
2 years, that's not too bad.
So Kelly, I'll turn it back to you. If anybody has any questions at this point or discussion.
Okay. Mike, are you talking? No, okay. Just for a second there, I caught your glimpse. I didn't know if you were trying to say something. Does anybody have comments or question or anything that they want to add on this fantastic report? Which, thank you, Jeff. Very well done. I think you captured everything that we were trying to say over the last couple of months. You know, very easy format. I think it's pretty straightforward, everything that we've discussed. Got a little bit of work to do still with land development code, but we're in the middle of it. So there's really nothing that can be, you know, specifically written at this point.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, Marcy. This is not all me, so by any means, Cindy was very helpful with planning. So,
Yep. Jessica?
I was thinking and kind of wondering, of course, I'm new, here with you guys. I was wondering about the awareness of these incentives, the people that would actually be able to benefit. How are we going to, have that information where they're going to be aware of it and they can actually benefit from it? Very often we have, someone from the county come to the board of realtors and educate realtors in regards to the down payment assistance program and so forth, and then SHIP funds. So perhaps our level of knowledge in terms of what is available in the county might, limit to just those two things, right, and nothing else,
right. Marcy, do you have a strategy that's already in play to for the board of realtors for someone to go out and give that information, or are we posting it on the website? What's the best method?
Yeah,
for
there are things on our website, but I would think that I'm sort of looking at some need like she would be looking at me, but so I would think that depending on we would have what is a current incentive versus some things that we hope for in the rewrite, and then we would add it to anything that we list online, but also going out and speaking to people about it. I could even see perhaps a small brochure or something that could go to developers to see like these are some incentives you could look for and go after while you're looking to do affordable housing.
Actually, I think it should be a checkoff box of what they have to go through. Did you get and look at the affordable housing sheet, as they go through the whole development process?
Oh, that's a good idea too. Yeah.
We could do that. We could do a checklist. It could be part of the expedited permitting and including with expedited permitting, like for example, have you checked about parking variance and some of the things that they don't know to ask about now. Yeah. And then if things are added, then we could add those as well.
Yes.
So that's for developers that are already engaged. To reach other ones, there are groups around the state, which I'm affiliated with, and I'd be more than happy to share with you that you can give them the information and they disseminate it throughout their members.
Yeah, I'm happy to roadshow.
We could do great lunch and learns, maybe something like that.
Yeah, hopefully everybody got the link I sent from the lunch and learn Marcy did last week on the affordable housing, and she's having one Thursday.
Yes, and we have another one happening on Thursday with another group of people, including Crystal, she's on here, Terry Stobbs from the Housing Authority, and Mark is on Thursdays. So we talk about affordable housing from the perspective of supportive housing to affordable rentals, which Jeff did a great job with that, and then affordable home ownership, like with Habitat. So Mike did a great job with that. So, We do have it on YouTube, and we'll do another live on Thursday, and people can tune in and we'll send out the link.
Yep.
When it's recorded.
I think we did have a public comment. Are you able to pull that, or do I just need to read it?
I can read it.
Okay.
Where's this? My glasses.
Says, in reference to the expedited permitting, the current incentive states, quote, "The processing time for single-family permitting is reduced from 21 days to approximately 10 days," end quote. "We would encourage removal of the ambiguity of approximately 10 days to be replaced by a more definitive time frame / deadline. The language could state, quote, "The processing time for single-family permitting is reduced from 21 days to no more than 10 days for initial review." That's from S. King.
Is that something that's doable? Does it, Sinead, I see you kind of shaking your head. Don't want to call you Johnny on the spot, but I'm thinking that if that's doable, I can understand putting it in there. But when you start putting specific language like that and then you don't uphold it.
I think I'll like what you just said, especially because times change, where right now, let's say currently right now, we have a 30% increase in the amount of applications that have come in. So that's a lot of stress on our staff right now. And then there's other times that we don't have as much, maybe in a couple of years, we won't have as much. So using such specific language, I think would harm us as opposed to benefit us.
Marcy, do you have a comment on that?
It's not my workflow, so I mean, I understand both sides of that spectrum, so.
Does anybody else have a comment or preference? Do we need to discuss it at all, or we want to leave it stay as it is?
Stay as it is.
I think just keep it, yeah.
Okay. We appreciate the comment. Thank you very much.
Was that the only one? Correct. Okay. We don't have anybody out at the back that you can see. Okay.
And Sinead, you had your hand up before. Did you have a question prior to us starting that little discussion there with public comment? Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay.
If it will help the situation, oh, sorry. I was going back to that comment that was just made. If it does help the situation, one thing that we have with the review process, especially when it goes through current planning, it's not mentioned on here, but when it goes through current planning, it's down from several months to about 20 days, 21 days. And so that's a big chunk that's already cut off on review time. So I feel like we do help support that expedited process, so that the extra day or two shouldn't be that painful.
Right, when
Hi,
you're talking
everybody.
about a couple of months. Yeah.
I don't know if I can make a comment during this time. If not, let me know.
Are you in the public, sir?
I'm the one who made the initial comment.
Okay. Go ahead, you can make a comment.
Thank you. Sean King with Habitat for Humanity, Pinellas West Pasco. We made the comment. The reason why we made this comment is, another local municipality has a 10-day deadline for initial plan review because they want to incentivize affordable housing just like everybody else does, in the community. What we have found working with that municipality is without that deadline, and I appreciate the comments from the county, we understand that everybody is overloaded, is that without a deadline for developers, for affordable housing developers, as well as for staff, is that things just get pushed back, or I don't want to say don't become a priority. And I appreciate it's gone from, a couple of months to 21 days. But the stated incentive is approximately 10 days. So we would encourage that if we really want to make this a priority, and it maybe the 10 days, the approximate 10 days isn't the right timeline. Maybe the right timeline is no less than 21 days. Whatever is decided, to have a hard and fast deadline is I think beneficial for both the developer, because they can have a more reliable timeline, as well as the staff to know, what the priority is and when they need to get it turned around. So maybe 10 days is too quick of a time and it needs to be 21. We would just encourage that there is a set timeline that is reliable for both sides. And that's the only additional comment I would make.
Thank you very much, sir. Commissioner?
I'm gonna check and see. I just texted it to Derek to start doing a little research, but something makes me think that there's a bill going through that says we don't give a permit in 30 days, we have to return the fee money.
Okay, so that might be helpful for us to piggyback off of in the future.
Well, let's hope that doesn't go through.
Well, I meant the information, you know what I'm saying, on what we have to do, to choose. Because if you've got to be at a specific timeline, then we will have to do that. Thank you, Mr. King. Anyone else have a comment? Jimmy?
I just like to thank Commissioner Starkey for spending her time here with us and participating, and also for the very comprehensive email you send out every day during the pandemic.
We're down to 3 days a week right now. It was a lot every day, but
it was
still going out.
Good.
Yeah.
Kept us informed. I really appreciate it. I'm in your district. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone on the line that would like to make a comment about anything? Public or otherwise? Marcy?
So I just want to I want to make a comment about bills that are going forward. Actually, it's passed both the House and the Senate. This bill will revise the distributions of the documentary stamp tax that are local housing trust fund and the state housing trust fund. And I'm going to make a comment that is editorial in nature. Florida led the country in establishing a dedicated source for affordable housing, which was the documentary stamps, to go directly into a housing trust fund, so that then the funding can go can be distributed to municipalities and be used for affordable housing. And I suppose that when you're successful, you have a bullet target on you. And I just think that this has become a very sad day for the Sadowski Trust Fund, that now they are going to permanently distribute funds from out of that to go into the Water Protection and Sustainability Trust and Resilient Florida Trust Fund. And, we've got developers here, we've got realtors here, we've got people online that might have been part of the initial, the early days where the most broadband support for this act, I think, that people had ever seen, because housing and affordable housing affects so many in different industries, as well as helping people. And I guess I'm just saddened, but I'm also so shocked that this has slipped by so easily. And it will reduce. So if Pasco is fully funded, would have been fully funded with SHIP funds, it would have been over $5 million. And now our full funded will be 2.2 million. Now the bill does say that they can no longer sweep funds.
That's the one good thing.
So we're taking money from you, but we'll not sweep it. But I just want everybody to remember that last year our funds were never swept, but we never got them. So I put this out as a completely editorial comment on my part, in case anybody is listening and is concerned. But I think that this committee should be aware that this is a very significant change to affordable housing.
And an unfortunate one.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that did a lot of hard work trying to stop that, modify that change.
So would you say that the sweep was the no sweep was the consideration? Is that what, I mean, do you think?
I don't know.
Marcy, thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's not a good day to see that go through. I think it's going to make it more difficult at the local level for sure with reduced funds coming in. I think all we can do is continue to do what we're doing today. And I just want to thank all of you for the opportunity, and thank you, Marcy and Jason and Commissioner Starkey, for your leadership.
Yep. Jessica, I'm sorry.
Let me,
Commissioner.
yeah, sorry. Isn't the money going to two places? Okay, so it was to the water, and what was the other place? Resiliency Fund. So where were the realtors? Because, okay, this money comes from doc stamp. So where were the realtors that?
I saw Jessica. She could speak about that. I think the realtors were involved.
Yes. In fact, they had a call to action that went to every single realtor, at least within my board. I am aware of it because they sent an email, and we were encouraged to reach out to encourage the senators to vote no. So do not know what happened. So. And so Jeff, you said that you probably saw it on the developer side.
Oh, yeah.
I know that I saw Habitat for Humanity doing some outreach on it. So I don't think it went quietly into the night. I have to say that I think really, they looked for a source of funding, and it had, if we didn't have the money, nobody would have looked for it. But they saw that, the doc stamp, it's been incredibly successful. It really was a smart way to create a housing trust fund.
But they should have said it can only go into a housing trust fund.
Absolutely.
Hey everyone, it's Mike Sutton from Habitat. The one comment I'll make on this topic is that I think the realtors, the Florida Realtors and the Florida Housing Coalition were both very active around the advocacy to stop the sweep. It's obvious it was a done deal from the beginning. Leadership was all in on making this happen. I do think the advocacy work helped to increase the percentage this year towards affordable housing, but it's going to be a fight every year moving forward because there's no set amount that will be promised to affordable housing year after year. So this group and everyone that's a part of the AHAC, I think it's going to take work every year to make sure that affordable housing is a priority and that we do everything we can to get those funds passed down to the local municipalities.
Jimmy?
The best way to help is, and Kelly knows too, become a Sadowski affiliate. Updates are every Tuesday, 10 o'clock, starting in about a minute. Every Tuesday, and this group is large and they're very good at how to go about getting in touch with your representatives.
I do a lot of work. I've done a lot of work in the past with youth and 4-H, and then I've taken some of the same activities and done it with staff and board, where you talk about your values, and what comes up is valuing things that end up being conflicting values. And again, I hate being a part of it, but when I step back, I watch and I see that this is absolutely an argument over conflicting values. You have value of affordable housing, and you have a value of resiliency in water and climate change. and so you have people vying for two very conflicting values. What I find so distressing is that when you look at most communities that are dealing with sea level rise and those concerns, who are the ones that are living by the water? They're not the people that we serve in affordable housing. So it just is it is a conflict in values and different priorities for different communities. So I have said that I just think it's a sad day, and I'm assuming that I'm not going to be online in 2 minutes, but I'm assuming that the word is that the governor will sign this. Does anybody have an update on that?
I can reach out to Dominic Scanavino. He's usually on top of all that, and we might even be able to find out something at the Kona meeting next week.
Well, so Ralph Blair will know.
Okay.
He'll probably know, but I haven't seen anything.
I just got a note that he is signing, so.
So I just read House Bill 1059, and just for our permitting and planning department, yeah, you'll have 30 days, and then if there's comments, you'll have 10 days. So that, and it's passed like 113 to nothing, so I think it's coming.
1059, did you say?
Yeah.
Is there a Senate bill?
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's almost done. Yeah.
Do you have the number on that? Does it give you it to?
What's the Senate bill?
So what are our next steps, Jeff? This goes to
the approval, and then the report will be presented to the board. Probably the first June meeting.
So we'll let everybody know when it's going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So this is the part, I guess, where we're going to have a final discussion on everything that we've talked about. And then I'm going to ask for an approval of the entire packet of all 10 points as they've been written out for us. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Thank you. We've got a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion carries unanimously.
Who did the motion? Because I saw Jessica's hand.
Oh, I raised, but I didn't vocalize it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And I think from a staff perspective, that's all we've got. Once again, express my thanks to everyone that has been involved in this, everyone online. We appreciate you participating as well. And we know with the current circumstances, it's been certainly been different, to say the least.
Is this our last meeting, Jeff?
This will be in, I've heard, I think that this is now going to be annually. Somebody was mentioning that, so I'm not sure. But if not, it would be another 3 years before the committee would reconvene.
Okay. But the committee has served its role at this point now?
At this point.
Okay.
And, again, we will let you know what meeting it's on the Board of County Commissioners. And I will present, but certainly anybody's presence and assistance would be welcome. And then, you are the core kind of team when it comes to affordable housing. And so I think too, if you would be willing to stand by and act in an advisory role, there might be other times where we would call on you for your assistance. I think we're going to say goodbye to John. John is leaving us for another community. So John Letton, thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you, John.
Enjoy your time as you leave Pasco County and move a little bit further south to Safety Harbor.
I'd like to say thank you to everybody, to staff and everyone online. Sneed, for your help from your end on this as well. And for everybody who served, thank you for nominating me to be the chairperson. I've enjoyed this experience and working with all of you, and I hope that we can make a big difference here in our Sterling County. Thank you all very much.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
You want to hit it?
What
Just
does
sent that-
Marcy
that
say? You
language.
get an hour of your life back?